Hello and welcome to COVID Calls, the first episode of this new show that we're doing. First of all, shout out to the guys of Growth Gurus who started these sort of discussions and helped us set up the software as well, because this is like a really nice software to use for us to be able to do these remote conversations. On today's show, we have quite a number of interesting guests. We have first of all, the Economy Minister Silvio Schembri, who will be talking to us about the business stimulus package that was released yesterday in more detail. We also have former Finance Minister Tonio Fenech, who wrote a really interesting article in the Times. Obviously, he experienced the economic crisis of the financial crisis of 2008. So to be interesting to see what he would be doing and how he's living these times as well. We have some representatives from industry joining as well, and we'll be discussing the main focus is obviously the proposals made, or the budget made by Prime Minister Robert Abela yesterday, where effectively he increased the support that government is giving businesses at this very difficult time that we're all experiencing. So I just want to bring in to our first guest, Tonio Fenech, former Finance Minister Tonio Fenech with the Nationalist administration. You lived the 2008 financial crisis and as the Economy Minister, and you wrote a very interesting article in the Times this week, I would say criticizing, and in some ways being critical of the government initiatives so far, right? Can you give us a bit of a summary of your article and what you would have done if you were facing this crisis yourself?
Well, the article was not intended to be a criticism to government, to be quite frank, but rather the approach I took is that obviously the experience that I have passed through, having been a minister of a crisis myself, looking a bit how different this crisis is, because this is a different crisis. We are not facing the same crisis of 2008 and 2009, but how would I think this could be approached? And therefore I came up with a series of proposals, effectively 9 proposals, of what I believe government should seriously consider. The whole concept of the article was, and my proposition is, to look at this very specific situation, because this is not an economic-driven crisis. This is actually a health-driven economic crisis because of the situation that effectively not just Malta, but effectively the world is going into a lockdown. I mean, flights are being cancelled, shops are being closed, people are being told not to go to places of entertainment. So everything has been effectively stopped, not completely, because you still have the manufacturing sectors which are going, although I believe we will face a second round of crisis because of the drop in demand effectively coming into from this situation, especially if it prolongs for a lot of products in the industry. But I think that is for a later issue.
Steps in and pays for everyone. What's the solution?
Well, what I was suggesting is what I called an economic timeout. So it is effectively applying the concept of everybody understands a sports game, okay? When you stop in a halftime, the score stops, the time stops, and then after 15 minutes, you start again from that score and from that time, okay? Now, you cannot apply it completely to everything, but there are a lot of things in the economy which, yes, we can say, because they have stopped, let's keep them at that point, so that when we start again, we can start at that point. And the idea is, if you control as much as possible the burdens by stopping the burdens from actually falling onto businesses, because this is what's happening at the moment, businesses seeing a lot of burdens coming on him, his rent, his interest rates, his loans, okay, which have been postponed, his taxes, which have been postponed, but which are still due, his energy bills, his labor cost, and all the other costs. Everything is falling onto business at the moment, but business cannot carry them because it has no income. A lot of businesses have no income, and other businesses have a significant drop in their income. So what you try and do is, what does not need to fall at this point in time on business is stopped. Now, it may sound radical, and people say, but can the government actually intervene on banks? My opinion, yes. There are the legislative tools. It is the government that sets the maximum interest rate that this country has, and the same government can decide that interest rate is zero. Okay? And therefore, the government takes a measure and says all bank loans are at this point crystallized at where they are, and they will start again when the crisis passes and the government says, now is the time that you can accrue again interest. So businesses are not burdened with that interest. That will mean that who is also putting additional burden on business because they're renting them a property, okay, on the premises from where they're operating, whatever it is, the restaurant, the hotel, the shop, or whatever it is, you tell them, now we've taken away your burden of interest on the bank, and the bank is giving you a moratorium. So you can also stop charging rent. Yes, stop charging rent and start charging again that rent after the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5 months, whatever this period is, when we start again. Now, obviously, these people may have a bit of a problem because they also have to support their family, but government would also support them in the same way then they would support employees if they have no other source of income. So government would
just stop you there. Let me stop you there for a second. So I just want to remind the viewers that on today's show, we have Tonio Fenech, the former finance minister, and we've got Economy Minister Silvio Schembri, who we will be bringing in soon. And if you've got any questions for him, just leave them on the Facebook comments, and we'll be able to get to them because we'll be seeing this. So I just want to go back to you for a second, Mr. Fenech. Who do you think? So from you wrote your article, you said what you wanted to say a couple of days ago. Yesterday, the government gave its new stimulus package, and some things changed, right? What's your analysis today of that package? Has it gone far enough? Who's being left out from it, if anyone? And does it address some of the concerns that you had?
I think in a sense, the measures, none of them are negative because they're all there intended to be supportive. Okay. The question is, are they enough? On the labor cost front, government has increased his contribution from 340 per employee effectively to 800 euros per employee, which is indeed positive. And on the labor front, I think it will be supportive to a number of employers to try and retain as much as possible their employees. Because from my experience, Maltese employers try as much as possible to retain their employees. They wouldn't like to lose them. Their family they've been trained, so there's reason for them to retain them. Whether that will be enough, it will really depend on how long the situation will transpire, and therefore how much they can carry of all the remaining costs. Okay, so will they be, the businesses at this point in time are seeing just costs accumulating in their profit and loss. Okay, so saying, I'm still being charged effectively interest, I'm still being charged rent. Yes, they're telling me, don't pay it today, pay it in 6 months' time. But effectively, I still have to pay the national insurance contribution of my employees. I still have to pay for water and electricity. I have to pay for all the bills that are still coming in. And I'm just kicking the can in the future. How much will a business keep kicking the can in the future? So what we have to try and avoid, and this is where my proposals were coming from, is trying to stop the increase of unnecessary burden on business, not to have a business collapse. And therefore, we have an economy where we will say, go, you can start again because flights are operating, no, we're no longer in quarantine and everything. But businesses have been so much crippled that they will not be able to stand up. And this is what we need together to try and avoid. So I think measures that have been taken by government do try to address this by postponing taxes, by trying to give soft loans, or I think just
Okay, I think
percent the guarantee from the bank side increase that significantly. But at the end of the day, a lot of businesses, it's not loans that they need, because a business takes a loan to invest in something because in the future it's going to make money to repay it. This is not businesses are investing in something to make money from. This is just to survive. And to survive, businesses need grants. And I close with this, Christian. The European Union has relaxed a lot its rules. and given a lot of government's flexibility, including that for every company, the government can give even up to 800,000 euros in terms of cash grants, not loan, grants or relief from taxation. So if you decide to credit the national insurance contributions rather than make them pay for it. So the EU has widened the rules. Obviously, I understand the government has to use those tools within the ambit of what the government can afford. But in reality, in this situation, the government can afford also to go into deficit if needs be, yes, not to allow the economy to break.
So
because we can break the economy.
Before we move on to Silvio, I just want from a human perspective, as in at the moment, would you be feeling, thank God that I'm not the person facing this crisis, or would you be feeling, I wish I was still in charge so that I could do the things that I wanted to do?
And I definitely wouldn't cherish the position of wanting to be again in charge. I think having been a minister in one crisis was sufficiently stressful and enough. I did my best in it, what I thought we could do the best. What I wish is that my ideas and my proposals are not there to criticize government. I did the proposals in the spirit of putting ideas on the table that should be discussed and considered, because from this issue, we need to get out together. This is not an issue of trying to score pros and points. I understand the very difficult position this government is facing. This can be a crisis even bigger than 2008, 2009, because it's not hitting just one sector. This is going to effectively hit the whole global economy and the whole local economy. And therefore, as a person who has passed through it, I just put my ideas pen on paper, because I feel it's good to also have a proper discussion on these issues and try to find common solutions.
Thank you very, very much for joining us. And we might cut back to you soon. So if you could stay on the line with us, that would be great. So Silvio Schembri, Economy Minister, what feedback, first of all, have you received from people following yesterday's stimulus package?
L-iskop tal-ħabbarna wkoll il-pakkett tal-bieraħ kien aħna primarjament biex niggarantixxu l-jobs u anke nagħtu messaġġ ta' kuraġġ hemm barra. Messaġġ li dan huwa pajjiż b'saħħtu, huwa poplu b'saħħtu u li ħajidħol sejjaħnila l-gwerra. Għal din il-gwerra dak kollu li għandu bl-armament, bil-war chest kollu li għandu sabiex din il-gwerra nirbħuha. U naħseb jiena wara l-messaġġ tal-bieraħ jiena ninsab ħafna aktar gburi li jiena Malti għaliex l-ammont ta' encouragement li rċivejna mill-ħaddiema, minn min jimpjega, minn dak kollha li huma involuti għal messaġġ ta' burden sharing li l-fatt li aħna din kollha fl-istess dajsa u kulħadd qed jiġbed ħabel wieħed hija xi ħaġa li tagħmel gburi. Jiġru anke messaġġi bħal l-istess bħal qal Tonio Fenech, ġifieri rajt dak li qal Tonio Fenech, nemmen sinċerament li il-messaġġi li kienet jagħti qed jagħmluhom good faith u dan huwa l-ispirtu li rridu nkomplu naħdmu, dan mhuwiex żmien ta' politika, huwa żmien li kulħadd jagħmel il-parti tiegħu kif jista' ħalli sabiex din l-isfida kbira li għandna qudiemna nerbħuha u nelbuha. Jiena konvint li ħankun qegħdin nelbuha u wara l-bieraħ konvint ħafna aktar minn qatt qabel għax l-ammont ta' pożittività li stajt nara jiena kemm min-nies mill-ħaddiema il-fatt li qegħdin jirrikonoxxu li isma' dinja sfida li laqtitna bħalma laqtet il-komplement tal-pajjiżi l-oħra fid-dinja, però sfida li kol flimkien ħankunu qegħdin nirfuha.
Obviously, so a message of positivity and courage to the country. I'll just translate a bit what you said for our viewers, but also. Can you guarantee that jobs are not going to be lost? So at this stage, I mean, there's already been many reports of companies that are laying staff off, putting their staff on 3-day work weeks, making them take salary cuts. There is also this reaction from parts of the business community that are saying almost 100,000 workers have not really benefited from this scheme, because this scheme primarily takes care of especially sectors like the tourism sector that has been sort of completely shut down. There are a lot of sectors like the professionals, real estate, architects that are not affected by it. So, can you guarantee that jobs are not going to be lost, or is it just something we have to accept that suddenly Malta is going to have a large amount of unemployment?
No, Chris, Sara, jekk ngħidlek li nista' garantijek li l-ebda job jew l-ebda persuna ma ħajtlef xogħlu ma nkunx realistiku. Però l-messaġġ tal-bieraħ u l-pakkett tal-bieraħ kien intenzjonat sabiex kemm jista' jkun we safeguards l-iktar ammont possibbli ta' jobs. Min-naħa l-oħra, aħna ma waqafniex hemmhekk, jiġifieri bħala parti mill-pjan huwa li anke parti mill-war chest li għandna huwa li kif noħorġu minn din is-sitwazzjoni kemm jista' jkun malajr, mill-ewwel nerġgħu nibdew bil-proċess ta' tkabbir ekonomiku sabiex dawk li tilfu impjieg li kienu fl-impjieg bħalissa li anke hemmhekk qegħdin niggarantixxu li huma wkoll ikollhom €800 fix-xahar, però nifhmu li dik tkun daqqa kbira li inti diġà tlift l-impjieg, aħna nkun qed naħdmu bl-istess mod kif l-aħħar mill-aħħar għamilna fl-2013 sabiex nerġgħu nqajmu l-mutur ekonomiku ta' pajjiżna u jerġgħu jiġu krejati l-opportunitajiet. Jiġifieri fl-2013 ma ninsewx li aħna uritna pajjiż li kien f'sitwazzjoni ekonomika ħażina ħafna. Kellna pajjiż li ma kienx qed jikber, kellna rat ta' qatt għoli ħafna u kellna il-negozju li ma kienx qed jinvesti. Fi ftit xhur irnexxielna nqajmu l-ekonomija, kellna investiment kbir, f'sitwazzjoni fejn kellna high level of unemployment għal kważi full employment, f'sitwazzjoni fejn kellna l-akbar tkabbir ekonomiku. Qed ngħid dan għaliex din mhijiex l-aħħar tad-dinja. Jiġri din hija sfida kbira, però din nidħlula minn pożizzjoni ta' saħħa. Qegħdin naraw bil-pakkett li nidejna l-bieraħ ukoll flimkien ma' tnejn li nidejna ta' qabel, inkomplu safeguards as many jobs as possible. Dawk l-ammont li ħajkun qegħdin jintilfu minkejja li xort niggarantulhom li jkollhom €800 fix-xahar bħala dħul bħala paga għalihom ħankunu immedjatament bi programm sabiex nerġgħu nibdew ir-rota ekonomika tibda iddur u nibdew nerġgħu nikkreaw l-opportunitajiet. Jiġifieri il-mod kif qegħdin naraw aħna di taħdem fi stages. Forsi l-aspett tat-turiżmu huwa l-iktar aspett li ħajħu daqsxejn iktar fit-tul. Għaliex inti minkejja li forsi ngħidu tkun solvejta mill-lat mediku ġewwa pajjiżna. Inti mill-aspett turistiku tiftaħ, tittoqgħod attent fejn tiftaħ xi jiddependi wkoll pajjiżi oħra x'ikunu għamlu. Jiġri aħna qed nieħdu l-miżuri kollha mill-aspett ta' saħħa. Jista' jkun li forsi mhux kull pajjiż qed jimxi hekk. Allura
how long is this going to take though? Because do you expect more business measures to be announced? Because I think the difficulty is, okay, you say we're starting from a strength of a position of strength. There's this process that you guys keep mentioning. There's this financial stability, but this is already costing you tens of millions every month. The business community is still not yet happy. So I don't know if you agree, but probably at some point you're going to have to step in a bigger way to more industries. How long can we afford to sort of subsidize business in this way?
Ma l-iktar ħaġa faċli għalina kienet ngħidu isma' għandna X amount ta' flus, naqbdu nitfgħu mill-ewwel għall-ewwel xahar, kulħadd ikun kontent, però mbagħad jiġi t-tieni xahar u ngħidu aħna qtajna nifisna u ma nistgħux inkopru. U hawnhekk fejn jidħol l-aqal. Jiġifieri aħna forsi ġejna kritikati ftit tal-jimilu għaliex dak iż-żmien ma konniex b'saħħitna biżżejjed fil-miżuri li għamilna. Però dak iż-żmien li għamilna kien li mill-ewwel nidejna kemm jista' jkun l-ewwel setta miżuri li stajna nniednu fuq livell firxa fuq livell iktar wiesa', speċjalment fejn tidħol likwidità. Eventwalment dejna nitlu aktar fid-dettall sabiex naraw ukoll inkomplu niddiskutu mal-korpi kostitwiti. Jiġi dak li ħabbarna l-bieraħ kien endorsed mill-korpi kostitwiti kollha ta' pajjiżna. Jiġifieri kemm min ħaddem kemm
mill-businesses kollha biex inkunu fair.
Kif?
Imma mhux mill-businesses kollha.
Le ma issa ħanispjegalek, ħanibdew mela. Ġa kellna agreement patt soċjali li rari qatt issibu f'pajjiżna, mhux pajjiżna biss naħseb jien f'kull pajjiż fid-dinja. Ġi naħseb ma kien hawn l-ebda Prim Ministru fid-dinja fejn dak li ħabbar kien endorsed mill-korpi kostitwiti kollha. Da seta' jseħħ għaliex wara l-ewwel żewġ sets ta' miżuri bqajna dejjem bid-diskussjonijiet li ovvjament dak kienu jfissru li kellhom bżonn aktar ħin għalhekk ma stajniex inħabbruhom qabel, kif rajna li kulħadd qabel sabiex li qed nifhmu li qegħdin fl-istess dajs, qed nifhmu li di tista' tieħu numru ta' xhur ta' ġimgħat u ta' xhur u allura rridu nkunu preparati mhux biss għal waqt il-kriżi iżda anke l wara l-kriżi. U kif iktar bdejna nispjegaw daw il-programmi u kif ħankun qegħdin naħdmu, iktar beda jinftiem il-messaġġ. Kif qed tgħid tajjeb inti, hemm sezzjoni ta' nies li jista' jkun li mhumiex milquta minn dawn il-miżuri.
Uħankellmuhom ukoll. In fact, joining the show soon will be someone who's an owner of a real estate company and an owner of an advertising company who's will bring them on soon. So, but I just want to get this from you, which is, do you anticipate more business measures?
Lima, kif diġà tkellimna, din hija miżura li aħna apparti li ħabbarna llum, li ħabbarna l-bieraħ, wieħed irid tkompli janalizza wkoll fid-dettall sections. U ngħid għalfejn, ħanispjega din ħalli
nispjega. Jiġifieri you would want as you review the different sections.
L-intenzjoni tagħna huwa li nipproteġu kemm jista' jkun jobs. Jiġifieri naraw li hemm sitwazzjoni reali li ovvjament hemm raġun ukoll wieħed irid ikompli janalizza aktar fid-dettall. Però ħanispjega daqsxejn il-mod kif qegħdin naħdmu. Aħna kellna sitwazzjoni bħal meta jkollok gwerra. Sewwax din hekk hija fil-verità. Meta inti jkollok gwerra, l-ewwel attenzjoni li tittamel primarjament huma dawk l-iktar li huma milquta b'mod direttament. Ma jfissirx li inti jkollok persuna li tkun imweġġa mhux se tagħti kasa, ma l-ewwel tittara dawk l-iktar li ħadu d-daqqa. U hekk għamilna flimkien mal-korpi kostitwiti. Eventwalment hemm miżuri oħra għal dawk li intlaqtu binqas, wieħed jista' jkompli wkoll janalizza aktar fid-dettall eventwalment kif inkomplu qed tiżvolġi l-affarijiet. Però jien naf qed tissemma l-figura ta' xi 100,000 persuna li ħallejna barra. Din ħadmet għaliex inti għandek madwar 200,000 persuna impjegati, għandek madwar 40,000 li huma fiċ-ċivil u għandek 60,000 li huma mulquta direttament bil-miżura ta' 800 biex niftehmu fa' kliem sempliċi. L-ewwel nett hemm ukoll miżuri għal madwar 40,000 u 50,000 ruħ oħra għal dawk li intlaqtu proporzjon ħafna inqas. Però mbagħad għandek setturi oħra li ma ntlaqtux. Jiġifieri naf jiġuni f'moħħi s-settur tas-supermarkets, is-settur tal-pharmacies.
Jista' jkun jintlaqtu iktar tard meta jkun hemm iktar unemployment.
Imma jekk li ntlaqtu iktar tard, wieħed irid janalizza iktar tard. Din hija sitwazzjoni, din hija sitwazzjoni fluwida għall-aħħar. Il-gvern irid jibqa' jaddatta u jaġġastja skont kif hemm bżonn. Però nifhmu li l-ewwel priorità kienet li rridu nserħu ras in-nies ta' dawk is-60,000 persuna li kienu fl-industriji li kienu qed jibnu futur qudiemhom, kienu qed jaraw tkabbir rekord, primarjament fit-turiżmu anke setturi oħrajn. Li mill-għada minħabba raġunijiet li l-gvern għaliex poġġejna s-saħħa priorità u naħseb kulħadd jaqbel fuq għadi, id-dħul tagħhom spiċċa minn 100 għal 0. Allura dik kienet our first priority. Ma jfissirx li affarijiet oħra wieħed ma jidħolx eżempju on a case by case basis, jien naf sa dolodu stess kienu tkellmuni, eżempju jieħdu l-manifattura. Manifattura għandna ammont ta' fabbriki li baqgħu għaddejjin b'not normali l-operat tagħhom, kien hemm anke fabbriki saħħa żdidilhom il-produzzjoni. Ma naħsibx li għandna lura naqdu ngħidu isma' mela l-manifattura ħandaħluha jew neskluduha b'mod kompletament. Għaliex għandek setturi li eżempju d-domanda tagħhom kienet iktar minn domanda domestika li dik ġiet affettwata. Ela mbagħad tittara li tidħol on a case by case basis f'dak is-settur għaliex fil-każ ta' dawk is-setturi a one size fits all policy ma taħdimx. I just
want to move on to two of our other guests. Stay on the line with us, Minister, so that you can also respond to some of the things that they say. So I'm going to start off with Chris Mifsud, who is the owner of an advertising agency in Malta, MPS. But I know that you're not speaking for your agency, you're speaking for the many clients and other businesses that are within your network and seeing how they've been affected. So I just want to get straight to the point here, which is who, following yesterday's business measures, has it changed enough for you in terms of how is this going to save jobs effectively, and what would you do differently?
Okay, well, essentially, like you mentioned, I'm not talking only about my industry. I myself touch on a variety of industries to different interests. But yes, it did start from my core industry and spread out to include even news platforms. I don't really think it's a question of even having a discussion about segmenting. I understand the minister saying, in a war you start, or in a medical situation you start with people who are more critical, and then you move on to people who have less critical issues. But I don't look at it as a war. I look at it as a carpet bombing scenario. So at best, the minister mentioned, look, you have people who went from 100 to 0 in a few days, and he's right. But you also, but what's the material difference between someone who went from 100 to 5 in a few days? Fine, 5 is better than 0. But I think what we need to appreciate is that here we're talking about runways that last much less than people think. So these
runways, what does that mean to people?
A runway, exactly. A runway is essentially a timeline that you have that you can keep on employing the people you employ, at least, and maintaining a level of operation with having severely reduced revenues, if any at all. Our sector, and when I say our, Chris, it's more the service sector in general, okay, relies only on human resource, like yours does, in fact, obviously. A little investment in technology, but not much, but essentially human resource. So our runway is much tighter, because as soon as it's a fixed cost, obviously, as soon as the revenue is tampered with in any way, then your runway starts getting shorter and shorter. Now, when we talk about runway in business terms, we talk about time, right? So if you're sitting on a cash pile, you can have a year of runway without making revenue. This industry, and not my particular industry, again, I don't want to look like I'm flying the flag for a sector. I'm really not interested. I'm interested in the greater good. But let's say the service sector, and yes, there is about 100,000 people who have been left out, has a runway, we're talking about 2 months.
So you're saying that within 2 months...
Maybe I don't need the help now, I need the help in a month. But decisions have to be taken now. And, 2 months means you can see the wall that you're driving into, essentially.
Chris, just to understand what you're saying that within 2 months, there are going to be lots of businesses, lots of industry, lots of jobs that will basically run out of the money that they need to support their businesses.
Exactly.
So what are you suggesting, though, that the government steps in and pays all of sorry, let me ask the question. That the government steps in and pays all your wages, all your rent, all your subscription costs. Until when? Until 6 months, a year? Like can we afford that?
Yes, exactly. I'm not expecting anything of that. What I do as a minimum expect is that there shouldn't be essentially discrimination. I understand the importance of the tourism industry, but let's keep in mind, it's so important, not because of what it is intrinsically, because a lot of other business depends on it. So if you close the hotel and they stop making revenues today, this very minute, okay, then tomorrow, the rest of the businesses which rely on income from tourism, okay, fine, it's not today, it's tomorrow. And I'm literally talking days here. I'm not talking 6 months figuratively. So I don't understand why you would discriminate, really. I'm not sure. I believe other countries haven't discriminated, hand-picked sectors like this. I can't understand what would make, what's happening now, Chris, is you have people scrambling all today, trying to figure out what NACE code they're in, and do I qualify, am I important, am I not? When in actual fact, we're talking for nothing. We're having these discussions there for nothing, because in a few months' time, it's going to be, we're gonna float or sink, and most likely sink.
Thank you very, very much. Before I get the minister to respond to you, I just want to bring in Steve Mercia from Quicklets, a real estate agency, who has in the real estate sector. Steve, you can tell us has completely stopped at the moment. What's happening?
Well, I mean, yes, essentially all of our offices are closed. We just have the head office, which is open and running on a roster basis, just having 2 people in the office at most times, just so that we can actually service anyone that manages to close a rent or something like that. I mean, the biggest issue is that most of the people at home. So we employ 18 people. We have 28 office rents to pay. We have 380 agents. The agents, most of them are stuck at home and willingly are under self-isolation, because this is the advice most people are giving them. Some are scared, some are doing their bit, and some are trying to work online. But I mean, rental is one thing. Sales, on the other hand, is impossible. I mean, you've got owners that are telling us don't come to the viewings. We have clients that had saved up money for a deposit are saying now we're not going to invest it because we're going to hold back and see us we need this money to go on a day-to-day basis. I mean, us as estate agents, most of us are self-employed. Forget us as business owners because we have obviously our little war chest ourselves. We've been saving up. But most estate agents live on a day-to-day basis and they don't have, they live on a check by check. Most of them have rents to pay. Most of them,
So we're having some technical difficulties with you, Steve, but I'll just ask the question. Maybe when it comes back, you can answer. I'm just wondering whether you guys would be happy if the government scheme that was proposed for other businesses applies to you guys as well. So this idea of getting €800 plus, the 400 guaranteed by businesses, would that make you guys happy? Is that enough?
Yeah, well, at the moment, speaking for myself and for our people as my group and Quicklets and Zanza Homes,
yeah.
Our people need some sort of assistance to be able to pay their bills, to pay their rents, to eat and to live, and a lot of them have done work in 2018 and have not received the checks yet because they're still being built, the properties. So Anna will work on that type of basis as well.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Steve, I'm going to go back to the Minister. Minister, so you heard from the sector of the professionals, you've heard from the real estate sector employers who are worried about having 2-month runways, and after 2 months are not going to be able to continue effectively. What do you make of that? And what kind of words of, I don't know, encouragement or what can you commit to these businesses? Sorry, wait, we've got a problem with your sound. Say that again.
Tismani?
Iva.
Kif għedlek dan huwa gvern li jisma' u jaġixxi wkoll. Chris għall-punt li isma' xarejn oħra jista' jkollna sitwazzjoni li għalina tkun differenti għax tispiċċana l-war chest tagħna. Ejja nifhmu li din is-sitwazzjoni ġiet fuqna mhux iktar minn 3 ġimgħat ilu. Jiġifieri xarejn oħra huwa 3 darbiet iż-żmien ta' kemm bħala pajjiż ilna f'din iċ-ċirkustanza. F'temp ta' ġimgħa u nofs dan il-gvern ħabbar 3 pakketti ta' miżuri li kollha kienu aktar targeted. Nifhem il-biża' ukoll u forsi t-tensjoni ta' ċertu ħudd ta' nies li forsi llum il-ġurnata qed jaraw li mhumiex milquta, però jista' jkun li xarejn oħra ħajħossuhom li jkunu milquta. Imma għalhekk kif dejjem tkellimna u kif dejjem għedna mill-ewwel ġurnata li di mhix kwistjoni li isma' ħabbarna kollox illum u għada jista' jkun jew xarejn oħra se jkun ma jinbidlux l-affarijiet. Tant kemm qed tiżvolġi l-affarijiet mod differenti li anke fis-settur tas-saħħa, kif ħdimna fis-settur tas-saħħa, bdejna ċertu miżuri li ejja niftakru meta ħabbarna l-ewwel miżura fis-settur tas-saħħa kien hawn dal-panik fil-pajjiż isma' għamlu lockdown kullimkien tittillokkjaw hemm talqu hemm. Id-deċiżjonijiet jittieħdu fil-mument opportun kif naraw l-aħjar bżonn tal-pajjiż dak il-ħin. Illum naħseb kulħadd jirrikonoxxi li fis-settur tas-saħħa l-esperti f'dak is-settur qed jagħmlu biċċa xogħol tajba u meta kan kumparat ma' pajjiżi oħrajn, il-mod kif qed naħdmu naħseb kien mod aqli ħafna. L-istess fis-settur ekonomiku. Fis-settur ekonomiku rridu naħdmu wkoll bil-għaqal. Jiġifieri kull deċiżjoni ikollha ramifications oħrajn. Ħantik deċiżjoni waħda li ħadna. Meta aħna eżempju għalaqna l-iskejjel, kellna sitwazzjoni qudiemna li minkejja li ċertu setturi ma ntlaqtux b'mod ekonomiku, xorta kellhom effett fuqhom. X'jiġifieri? Eżempju, kellna sitwazzjoni fejn kellek żewġ minn nies koppja li jaħdmu ġo fabbrika. Li l-fabbrika baqgħet għaddejja b'mod normali, baqgħu jaqgħu il-paga normali, jitlu għax-xogħol normali. Daw għandhom it-tfal. Għaliex aħna laqna l-iskejjel u t-tfal qed ngħidlhom biex ma jmorrux għand in-nanniet, daw spiċċaw f'sitwazzjoni ma kellhom ħadd min jieħu l-tfal tagħhom. Allura dik ridna aħna naħsbu fiha wkoll li minkejja ma ntlaqtux b'mod ekonomiku kellna nagħmlu miżura oħra sabiex naħsbu għal xi ħadd minn dawk il-ġenituri jew single parent eżempju li jrid jieħu it-tfal. Kellna l-persuni b'diżabilità. li aħna dawk peress li huma persuni iktar vulnerabbli qednilhom tmorrux għax-xogħol id-darba morru d-dar u aħna nħallsu dik il-paga.
But isn't there an element of discrimination here as Christians?
No. It's not a question of discrimination. Li Chris, li kieku aħna għedna isma' dan huwa pakkett indirizzat għal dawk u daqshekk ħanalqu l-bibien u dak li kien spiċċa. Hemmhekk forsi nifhem li hija discrimination, imma l-fatt li inti qed tibda tindirizza kemm jista' jkun il-fatt li inti l-bieraħ tajna serħan il-moħħ il-60,000 persuna li ntlaqtu b'mod direttament u kellek 50,000 persuna oħra li ntlaqtu b'mod indirettament li qed nassistuhom u wieħed jista' forsi jkompli jisma' jista' jkollok waqt li qed nagħmlu nitlu fid-dettall nibdew naraw imma kien hemm pocket żgħir hemmhekk li forsi tħalla barra jew li forsi jridu nirrevedu.
There's a constant review. But I want to make this point. Yesterday, one of the measures that I found quite interesting was the retroactive nature of these things. So even businesses that fire their staff immediately are getting to benefit from these measures. You know,
Però jekk impjegaw
but is this the way we want to proceed? Because as we're saying, a lot of companies are talking about a 2-month runway, which started 3 weeks ago. So they're talking effectively about five weeks left. Do you want people to, you know, is the message to employers who are not benefiting enough from these schemes to, you know, cut their losses now, you know, fire their staff now, and then see if the government steps in, they'll rehire them? Is that a practical and efficient solution?
Ma naħsibx li għadek ir-raġu. Jekk ħanibdew inħarsu lejn il-ħaddiema bħal pons li wieħed jipprova jkeċċihom biex jinnegozja magħhom, ma naħsibx li dak huwa l-ispirtu qed inħarsu. Il-negozji
hemm ir-realtà,
Chris, il-negozji li kienu f'sitwazzjoni li verament kellhom ikeċċu u llum qed jerġgħu idaħluhom magħhom għax kienu verament sitwazzjoni ta' realtà li ma stawx jagħmlu mod ieħor. Aħna kif diġà kellimtek ħankomplu qegħdin nitlu. Però naħseb kienet tkun unfair li kieku aħna naqbdu ngħidu dan il-budget ħajinfirex fuq kulħadd ikun min ikun. Eżempju, jien naftaħat l-eżempju tas-supermarkets. Supermarkets stess qalu nasma' aħna m'għandniex bżonnhom daw għaliex pjuttost kważi d-domanda żdiedetilhom fuq ċertu affarijiet. Iġi allura aħna il-dawk is-setturi jew kell eżempju
mhux qed nitkellmu fuqhom imma
qed nagħti eżempju wieħed li jista' jinftiem. Ħalli ma noqgħodx kemm jista' jkun nipprova naqbad klassijiet u jgħidu ma x'dak u għax dak. U ma nixtieqx li nipprova dan mhux il-mument li nipprovaw naqbdu klassi ta' nies kontra klassi ta' nies oħra. Dan huwa mument li kulħadd jifhem li qegħdin fl-istess dgħajsa, kulħadd qed jagħmel il-parti tiegħu, qed insibu kollaborazzjoni mingħand kulħadd, u allura hemm nkomplu b'dal ispirtu. Fejn hemm bżonn li rridu ntejbu, nkomplu naraw, inkomplu nitlu, nkomplu ntejbu. Dan huwa gvern li ħajkun ta' spalla għan-nies u gvern li ħajkun li assisti.
Thank you very, very much, Minister. I just want to get a few last comments from the rest of the guests, and we'll end with you. So, Tonio Fenech, what do you make of this discussion? Are you hopeful that there will be new measures? Because the Minister is not excluding that there will be further review. Do you think that we need to do these things quicker?
Well, additional measures will be inevitable. So, I mean, government will have to be responsive to a reality which is fast growing as an issue. It's not limited to 50,000 workers, but there are much more sectors that are effectively being impacted. What I urge the government is that to really live his message that everybody has to carry part of the burden. We cannot have a situation where the economy has been halted, but banks still earn interest rates. So when the banks needed to be bailed out, taxpayers' money was used to bail banks out. Thank God we didn't need to do that in Malta, but in a lot of countries in Europe that has happened and around the world. So when they needed support, governments are there supporting banks. Even in Malta, we have the depositor compensation scheme so that if banks are in trouble, there is actually a protection that is given to depositors. So at this point, I don't think it is just on the businesses and on everyone else that they are still charging interest. I think this is wrong. Now, government has not decided to touch that, but when you touch that, it is not a burden on government. The banks have sufficient profits to be able to sustain it for 3, 4, 5 months. It will not put bankrupt. And obviously, the central bank will have to stop charging negative interest rate. Okay, government has to regulate all this to be able to make sure that the burden is genuinely spread by everyone, because at this stage all we're saying is save as much as possible employee jobs, but leave the businesses burdened with all the other costs except the labor cost. In reality, that will still break business, and in reality that will result that jobs will still be lost, because at some point in time that business, with all the good intention of trying to collaborate with government and not fire the employees, and therefore that is why I insisted that in all this package there are other measures that need to be included. Banks, rents needs to be addressed. You can't leave businesses fighting with their landlords. Min jagħti discount ta' 25%, min janaqqas xi ħaġa, min jagħti discount ta' 50%. This is creating a lot of, so this needs to be regulated in such a way that it fairly distributes. We are in this for the long haul. This is the problem. We keep saying 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. I don't know. Chris Fern, in his interview in the Times, said this can even go along 6 months and beyond. So it's useless just looking at 3 weeks, 6 weeks. We have to say, what will this be really the impact? And how can I spread it on everyone to carry the burden? We all have to carry a piece.
Thank you.
We cannot save everyone. And therefore, this is why I put my package of measures to try and spread this as much as possible across the whole economy.
Thank you very, very much for being with us. Mr. Fenech, I just want to cut to the other guys for the last remarks, and then we'll close with the minister so they can respond to everyone. So, Steve, you heard that there would be, more measures possibly. What's your feeling at the moment?
I have no doubt in my mind that the government will give us aid eventually. I mean, so far what they've given to people that qualify for them is good, and the government is there to support these businesses. But the longer it takes for the government to support our businesses, and the more people are going to end up getting kicked out of their accommodation and signing up for unemployment benefits and so on and so forth.
And on this note of what Tonio Fenech was saying about rents, etc., what's your message to landlords? Obviously, you deal with them on a daily basis. Are you telling them to reduce rent? Are you giving them any sort of directives yourself? With us?
Palma jgħidu bil-Malti, kulħadd is-salib tiegħu jara, u kulħadd jaf kemm tiżen is-salib tiegħu. Ġifieri you cannot expect all the landlords to give a discount because most of them it's an investment and they have a bank loan and they have their own private expenses. We have 15,000 owners on our database across with 50,000 properties, and a few of them, some of them have come forward and spoken to us and said, listen, da mhux mikri bħalissa għandi l-loan jekk tista' jkjuli nqaċċat mill-prezz għal dawn it-tliet xhur. Ġifieri, as Tonio said, Silvio Schembri said, everyone has to carry their bit. Some people will carry more, some people will carry less. I've had landlords of some of my offices which told me take these 2 months for free, others have discounted a bit, and others have told me, pay me at a later date. The community has to come together in this. We just really need answers soon from the government so that I can tell my people when they're going to get this really need. A lot of them at the end of the month have these expenses, and it's not just the state agents as well. A lot of us have children and so on and so forth. Thanks, Chris.
I'm just going to talk to Chris. Mifsud, get a last comment from you, Chris. You've had a discussion, you've had the next give us your conclusion.
Yes, well, essentially a very good point that you made, Chris, is that this famous 2-month runway I'm talking about, you have to start counting from 3 weeks ago. So by the time, companies even make a decision, you're looking at weeks to days, really, because decisions can't be made at the 11th hour. We need to look after our people and make sure that they are okay if anything happens. These are people who've worked, with companies for a long time, and we need to look after them at all costs. So it is less than 5 weeks and counting now. We will do our part. The employer has to do their part. So no one's holding their hand out for, biex taqal manna mis-semma, as we say in Maltese. We will do our part, we have to, and the employer has to do a bigger sacrifice than its staff because the company is bigger, has a bigger war chest, like I think Steve mentioned, and we will do that. But we're talking weeks here, so the war chest is nearly dry, the famous war chest.
And there's a bit of a chain reaction, no, Chris? Like if one company stops paying another company and the other company
another, you're spot on. Another point is, like I said, I mean, we need to freeze, if possible, we just need to freeze the wealth of the country in this case. And, not allow panic to set in. But if someone gets a reduced pay, loses their job, the bank is chasing them for their loan. I mean, I got an arms bill yesterday. You pay it, you have to pay it. But this all just adds to the panic. We need to kind of freeze things and step in. That's what government, I believe, is there for. And I think they're doing,
including taxes and other payments, NI, etc.
VAT and tax, if you're not making revenue, is a non-issue. It's a moot point. But on everything else, yes. But the lifeblood is employees, is salaries. Without that, even insecurity sets in. I see the biggest possible thing could be a social cost. If people have much less money or not at all, or just the limit that the government gave, which is fine and very good, but they're out of a job, there's a social cost, Chris, to this.
It's rates, etc. Right?
The logical effect, it doesn't help. It will never help you rebuild. The loss of dignity. It goes much further. The minister is right. We're in the same boat, and me more than anyone believes this, minister and Chris and everyone else. But if we're on the same boat, there have to be enough lifeboats for everyone. We can't then decide who gets on the lifeboat first. Unfortunately, usually you would say, critical cases first, take the first lifeboat. We just need to make lifeboats, get off the ship and see how to start rebuilding it straight away. But to use the phrase of doing it all together, then everything needs to be treated in the same measure, unfortunately.
Thank you very much, Chris, for being with us, and for Steve and for Mr. Fenech. I just want to go back to the minister, and we'll round up as quickly as possible. But I do want some quick answers in terms of the banks, the interest of banks that Tonio Fenech mentioned. Is that something you agree with, Minister?
Ħanibdew minn hawnhekk. L-ewwel nett ejja naqblu li dan huwa pakkett b'saħħtu ħafna. Hawnhekk qed nitkellmu diġà kif qiegħed bħalissa, nitkellmu 70 million a month, which is no joke.
The government spending 70 million a month with the current package, yes.
Ġifieri
This will affect the government, right? This is banks, we're saying.
Kif?
The interest issue of banks is not a government expense, right?
All right, l-elim rritin kellem xaġa ta' mela. Fejtlu banek l-ewwel nett naħseb min jaf li jiena żgur minn ix-xi wieħed li nipproteġi l-banek. Anzi, tkellimt ħafna drabi fil-konfront tal-mod kif jaħdmu l-banek. Aħna bħalissa għaddejjin diskussjonijiet magħhom. Fejtlu banek qed nitlu wkoll fejn jitlu kwistjoni ta' garanziji. Jiġifieri l-banek jiċċarġjaw l-interessi skont ir-riskju li jkun ta' dak il-negozju. Given li issa il-gvern qed jintervjeni bil-garanziji anke sa 80% ta' dak ir-riskju, ovvjament l-interessi jridu jkunu baxxi ħafna hemmhekk. Wieħed ukoll jista' jiddiskuti anke metodi oħra fejn jitlu l-interessi, però bħalissa naħseb kun prematur jekk nitkellem fuq ma għaddejjin diskussjoni as we speak.
What about rents?
Fejn jitlu renti, jiena hawnhekk nieħu l-punt li qal Steve jekk mhux ser żball. Steve. Hawnhekk anke fl-interess tal-landlord stess li wieħed jara li jipproteġi il-persuna li qed tikri l-post minn għandu, ikun naħseb jiena very short-sighted jekk jara l-aħħar tax-xahar biss meta jista' jitlef il-kumplament tal-kirja tiegħu. U s'issa ir-rispons li qed nieħdu ma jfissirx li qed neskludu li nista' jkun li nieħdu ċertu miżuri, però bħalissa ejja naraw is-sitwazzjoni li jari. Ejja nżommu f'mali kull azzjoni li nieħdu ħajkollha chain reaction effect. Jiġifieri wieħed irid joqgħod attent ħafna x'tip ta' azzjonijiet irid jieħu janalizza s-sitwazzjoni kollha. Il-sitwazzjoni li nippreferu aħna hija li mmorru għal direzzjoni kif fil-fatt qiegħed jiġri li kulħadd jifhem is-sitwazzjoni u kulħadd jerfa' biċċa. Ir-rispons li għandna bħalissa li ħafna landlords qegħdin jifhmu li importanti li fl-interess tiegħu stess aħjar inaqqas ir-renta sal daw il-ftit ġimgħat ħalli jgarantixxi li jkollu aktar renta fit-tul milli jara sal-ponta ta' mnieħru jkun egoist forsi jew ma jkunx jistgħmel mod ieħor li jżomm ir-renta kif inhi għal dax-xahar u jitlef il-kumplament. Jiġri dik hija xi ħaġa li qegħdin narawha u wieħed irid kompli janalizza. Steve qal ukoll li kulħadd jara s-salib tiegħu. Bħala gvern aħna rrid naraw s-salib ta' kulħadd. Jiġifieri u dik id-differenza. Jiġifieri kull azzjoni li nieħdu.
Chris kulħadd, jiġifieri jekk hemm xi live vote ma jistax.
Imma għalhekk id-deċiżjonijiet qegħdin jittieħdu. Jiġifieri u din tisir f'kull pajjiż ta'. Jiġifieri m'hemm l-ebda pajjiż ieħor la fl-Ewropa, jien tal-rajt tal-Ewropa, imma maġab tad-dinja wkoll. L-miżuri li ħabbarhom kollha f'daqqa. L-ebda pajjiż. Jiġi kull pajjiż ħabbar a staggered approach.
Because I think one other thing to mention is that you said there's the chain reaction that Chris Mifsud was talking about, which is that if the hotels close, then so do the marketing companies suffer, so do the other business suppliers and other people suffer. But I guess if the hotels survive or manage to continue operating to some degree, maybe there would be a chain reaction over there, is what you're saying, right? At the same time, I mean, the government measures are barely kind of keeping people afloat, not making money, investing and
ma nistgħux ma naħseb ħadd jiena fil-pajjiż mod immaġina sitwazzjoni fejn f'dan mument they're looking to make money. Dan mhuwiex mument to make money. U anke l-appell tiegħi għaġġibni għal punt ieħor huwa jmur lejn dawk in-negozji li huma vera ftit, jew uħud ngħid jiena, li anke jippruvaw japprofittaw ruhom billi jollu xi prezzijiet ta' ċertu prodotti. Diġà dejna messaġġ ċar hemmhekk u mhux se nippermettu min jipprova jabbuża minn sitwazzjoni bħal din. Naħseb jien il-maġġor parti assoluta ta' kulħadd qed jifhem is-sitwazzjoni li mhux sitwazzjoni ta' profit making u sitwazzjoni kulħadd qed jerfa' biċċa. Ovvjament, nifhmu wkoll li din ilha raqtetna 3 ġimgħat. Fit-3 ġimgħat il-poplu Malti wawċi kellu jibdel kompletament mhux l-istil ta' ħajja tiegħu biss, l-istil ta' kif jaħdem, l-istil anke mentali tiegħu l-mod kif jaħseb. Jiġifieri din kienet xokk ngħid jiena u li wieħed irid jaġġastja. U anke bħala gvern li anke inti meta tiddaħħal miżuri tiegħek tittara li jkun hemm iż-żmien eżatti neċessarju sabiex wieħed jaġġastja u jara li jimplementa l-miżuri. Kif diġà semmejt, this is an ongoing process. Ħantik eżempju wieħed. Bħalissa kif diġà semmejt, ħafna mill-manifattura għaddejja. Però minħabba li ħafna mill-manifattura tiddependi wkoll minn supply li jiġi minn barra, ma jfissirx li dis-sitwazzjoni ħatibqa' l-status quo għal forsi xahrejn oħra. Alla jekk dik is-sitwazzjoni tinbidel, il-gvern ovvjament irid jintervjeni hemm. U f'dan il-pjan kollu li qed nagħmlu qegħdin naħsbu għaliha wkoll. Qegħdin naħsbu għal sitwazzjoni li jista' jkun li fuq livell domestiku once li inti mill-health authorities jgħidulna li dik hija cleared, wieħed forsi jibda jiftaħ iktar bil-mod. Issa fuq livell turistiku għaliex di tiddependi wkoll iktar fuq xi ħaġa internazzjonali jista' jkun li hemmhekk tieħu iktar fit-tul. Allura rridu nippjanaw ukoll kif fil-fatt diġà qegħdin nagħmlu li forsi anke wieħed jaħseb biex jinkoraġġixxi eżempju domestic tourism u wieħed jinkoraġġixxi fuq ċertu expenditure. Wieħed jibda jifhem.
I just want to add one thing. So as you're saying, there's an ongoing process. No country has given one stimulus package. There's this constant review. To close, we have a lot of people asking us about English language schools, whether they fall into the categories that were mentioned yesterday. But I think more importantly than that, as in to be a bit more holistic, how can businesses find out how they can benefit from the measures or not benefit from the measures? How do they find out who is applicable and who isn't? Is there a website? I think a website was mentioned yesterday.
L-ewwel nett nifhem ovvjament
tajda bl-Ingliż ħafna nies hawnhekk.
I understand, okay.
Maybe they would want to know this as well.
Let me just conclude my message in English. I understand that there's obviously a lot of people who are asking whether they would qualify or not, or whether they would benefit from the schemes as announced by the government. As we announced, in a matter of hours or few days, a new website will be launched, whereby people or companies would need to enter their VAT number, and that particular VAT number, through the program system, would already be linked to particular measures. We try to make it as simple as possible so that there would not be the need for people to apply for one particular measure or for the other. They would just need for their employer to enter the VAT number, and through that VAT number, they would immediately link them to what we call an ACE code. An ACE code will be a particular group of companies registered on a particular activity, which would qualify them or not under one measure or the other. Basically, there's also the Malta Enterprise Helpline, which is 144, which can provide other information. There's also other measures which fall under the Ministry for Family and Social Security. For example, when it comes to the leave, to the 2 months leave, benefit of the 800 euro per month for that particular unpaid leave, and other measures. But basically, we're going to have a splash page where everything will be linked in a very simplified manner, and not to get rid out of all the bureaucratic procedures as much as possible. With one simple click, you would know whereby you would qualify under one measure or the other. This will be uploaded in a matter of hours, I would say.
Thank you very, very much, Minister. Thank you, Tonio Fenech, Steve Murchie, and Chris for joining on the first episode of COVID Calls. Thank you to the many people who are watching. And if you have any more questions, keep asking, because we'll have more guests in the future. We'll be analyzing the various aspects of this crisis, both economically, even futuristically, like how does this change the world, how does this change economies, how does this change employment even after this crisis happens. So if you have any thoughts, or if you want to be on the show yourself, all you need is a laptop and the connection at home. And thank you very much again for watching. We'll be with you later. In the meantime, lovinmalta.com, and wait for this website that the Minister just mentioned, to see if your business is going to be affected, or how your business is going to be affected by the measures that were announced yesterday, and presumably the measures that will continue to be announced as the weeks roll on. Thank you again for watching, and thanks for the guests. Bye.